Hello, this is Mark Richmond from Chef Knives to Go, and this is lesson number 7 on sharpening for newbies. And today we're going to talk about tests of sharpness. This is a fun lesson. It'll hopefully teach you just how I personally will test my knife after I sharpen it, and we'll talk just a little bit about different blade edges and what they do. The first thing I want to teach you is when we sharpened our knife, we used a 1K stone, and a 1K stone will do a good job on the knife. It will also, it's kind of a gritty edge that it provides. Some people call it an edge with bite, and that is a different kind of edge than trying to refine the edge, where you use higher grit stones or strops to refine it down and get a shaving sharp edge. So we're going to try 3 basic methods of testing for sharpness. My neighbor Pat brought me a tomato today, so that was a nice surprise, and we're going to use that and sacrifice it to science. We're also going to cut some paper. It's a good test, and we're also going to shave some arm hair. I have here a Misono UX10 that I brought from home. I sharpened this a couple weeks ago, and last night before I brought it in, I stropped this with leather and chromium oxide, and I did that just to bring back the edge, and hopefully it's sharp, but no problem if it isn't. We don't need perfection here. We want to try to get some. We want to talk about imperfections and how to deal with them. So maybe there's some flaws in that edge that we can talk about. So a 1K edge under a microscope will look something like this. It will have a bunch of ridges and dips. It'll look serrated like a saw almost, and that's because that medium grit material is imparting all those imperfections to the edge. If you go and use a 5K stone after the 1K and you do a good job, it'll look like this. All those perfections will start to be evened out and polished out, and they won't be as big. And why would you do that? Well, a couple reasons. An edge with bite will work really well on, say, a tomato, but over time those peaks and valleys will degrade more quickly than this kind of edge. Also, tomatoes aren't the only thing you cut, and a more refined edge works better on some other items. When you do the shaving test, a more refined edge will work much better for shaving and paper cutting. It'll work better for some of your chopping skills too. If you want, you can keep going. And last night I did a strop with approximately a 30K grit paste called chromium oxide, and this will give you an edge that's much more refined. It'll be slick to the touch, and when you try to shave with it, it'll feel good when you shave. It'll take hair right off if you do it properly. So anyways, this one I did strop last night. This one I just came out. This is a Max Superior Santoku. I just yanked this out of the drawer. I didn't sharpen it or anything. I don't know what's going on with this knife right now, so we will find out. So let's dive right in. I'm going to take my Mac, and I'm going to draw it against this paper. Okay, so when I did that, it's pretty sharp. It cut paper pretty easily. I noticed right there some bumps. So there's an imperfection in the edge right here. I don't know what it is, but if I were to touch this edge up by stropping or by sharpening, I would concentrate right there. Let's try my Misono on that. Okay, this is sharper. It went through the paper more easily. Again though, I felt a little tick right up there. And there is something right here, a little burr or something that is on that edge that is imperfect compared to the rest of the edge. It also felt like it dragged a little bit through the tip more than the base, which is common because this is a harder area to sharpen. Okay, and if we try to shave with these knives, this one pops hairs off my arm, and pretty easily. You probably can't see the hair on here, but believe me, it's there. You can see probably that I lost some hair on my arm. This one, this does as well. This is a pretty sharp knife. I'm surprised that this is this sharp, considering I haven't used it in a couple months and it's been banging around in my drawer. That shaved hair nicely. So these two knives passed both of those tests pretty well. Let's cut a tomato. You'll see people on YouTube demonstrate how sharp their knife is by tossing a tomato down onto an edge, or they'll lift it up and it'll go right through it. I don't know if that really helps tell you how sharp a knife is, because the velocity and the weight of this tomato will push it through the edge pretty easily. Better test is to just draw the knife against it and see how quickly it'll cut through a tomato. And what you're looking for is the same thing. You want to feel the edge, so you want to kind of slice it and push at the same time and just see if it glides through. You can push cut it. And I don't know if you saw that, but when I pushed through the skin up at the tip, again, it didn't go through nice and smooth as it did on the bottom of the blade. So the top of this blade is not as sharp as the bottom. It's still pretty sharp. I mean, you know, I'm not putting any pressure on it and it's going right through. So, but if I were to play with this knife some more and sharpen it a little bit right now, I would work on this front section, this top section here. So those are 3 ways to check your knife sharpness. They're pretty fun and easy, and that's our lesson for today. Stay sharp.